You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dini Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
Hello. Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio, and I'm your host, Dini. But I must say this particular episode will be pre-recorded, and I can't wait to send it to you guys, especially for you guys who have the show. You know, you have the show, you subscribe to the show, you'll get the notification, you'll be the first to know. All right, we have a very special guest for you guys, just in case you didn't know. And before we bring them on, I just want to say, why not today? You know, there is something you've always wanted to do. There is some desire that you've always told yourself you would, someday pursue. Well, why not today? Today is a perfect day for you to begin. Of all the days you have available to choose from, today will give you the earliest start and the best advantage. There is an ideal version of you that you've always dreamed of becoming, and you can start right now to work towards becoming that person, towards living that life you've always wanted. And taking the first step is not difficult. It is well within your reach. It's your life, and we're talking about that right now. So don't you want to do everything possible to make it as great as it can be? Why would you want to spend even another minute waiting to get started? Time is constantly passing by, and starting right now to pursue the life you've always wanted will immediately put time on your side. And as soon as you make the commitment to move forward, every moment will bring you closer to your goal. So get up and go for it. Start right now to create for yourself the life that you deserve, the very best life that you can imagine. Take that from me, Coach Dini. That is my word, and word is bond.
Have you struggled budgeting your finances? Don't worry, you're not alone. HumbledBudget.com, that's HumbledBudget.com, is the help and resource you've been searching for. HumbledBudget.com is a personal finance and educational website with a great variety of topics when it comes to budgeting, taxes, investing, and the popular topic of FIRE, financial independence, retire early. HumbledBudget.com has a goal, and that's to help you reach your financial dreams, no matter what your goals are when it comes to finances. It doesn't matter where you start, where you come from, or where you are right now. HumbledBudget.com can help. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to the financial life you've dreamed of and go to HumbledBudget.com. That's HumbledBudget. HumbledBudget.com.
Hello again, and welcome to Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Dini. Our interviews are designed to go beyond music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings, the ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. In this particular episode, we are joined by Paul Hylenski, former USA Marine, author and business leader. here to discuss his passion for leadership and implementing psychological safety in the workplace. Paul will share his insights from his experience in aerospace manufacturing, where he has changed culture through creating a growth mindset environment. So with that, let's welcome Paul to the show. Hello, Paul. Welcome.
Hi, Dini. How are you? And I just want to say thank you for that awesome welcome and introduction.
Absolutely. Welcome to our show, Paul. And, first of all, thank you for your service, especially you guys who are out there currently now and before in the past who have, spent your time serving our country, allowing people like me to freely express our opinions. Thank you.
Wow. I truly appreciate that, and it was one of the greatest honors of my life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Paul, as a starting point, what is your advice for leaders who want to make a positive impact on their team's growth and development?
I think the first thing, and probably the most important thing, is to realize that it starts with the people and being a servant leader. One thing that the Marine Corps was probably one of the best teachers with was you had to care about and you had to lead Marines, but as the whole Marine. It wasn't always just about mission accomplishment. It was a lot of troop welfare. You were sitting next to these men and women that you had to rely your life on. And, their well-being, their, emotional state, the way they felt going into a certain mission or anything really impacted their ability to accomplish the mission. And I was a helicopter mechanic in the Marine Corps. So, I'd led teams that we were doing complex maintenance, activities. You had to be careful and you had to be able to lead people through life events. And, I think the biggest thing that's missing in leadership, particularly in business nowadays, is just the fact that leaders forget it's all about the people. And if you can really impact their lives and give them something to grow towards and make them feel like they're actually the most important thing, then they'll treat the companies like they're the most important thing.
Yes, sir. I think growing up, I picked the wrong jobs to work. The jobs I worked at, the boss was always right. And there wasn't much development or programs for advancement. It was kind of like a glass ceiling thing. And it wasn't until, I guess you could say, the last 20 years maybe, mindset became an open conversation in the workplace. And I began to see changes as I changed jobs and professions. Leadership's actually keen to the development of their team, So what inspired you to focus on leadership and creating a growth mindset culture in the workplace?
I've been asked that question a bunch, and it is so, a lot of people find it very interesting. So my father actually worked for a large aerospace company, and he worked, I was born in 1981, and he was in that, 1980s mentality of leadership where the people really didn't matter. You were just a number. And, the sad fact of it is at that point, so many leaders were just pumping the people with, cortisol and stress hormones, and then they were taking that back to their family. And what these young children, including myself, started to realize, and we were basically being taught, was the companies don't care about you. They'll lay you off at the drop of a hat. They will treat you sometimes substandardly. They don't care about your opinion. And all of the youth were seeing that. And, I remember being a younger adolescent saying, man, I wish I could change that. And, I went into the Marine Corps and I got to see some really great leaders. And I got to see how leadership could actually change the people there. I mean, the Marine Corps is a very diverse group of people, but yet they come together and they achieve some of the most amazing things. They're one of the most elite fighting forces in the world. But they're from all different parts of the country, every race. I mean, it is a very diverse field, but how do they get them to be a high-achieving, unit? And it's through that human and servant leadership. So my journey started as a kid, and I remember saying, I wish I could change it. My dad got laid off every few years when things weren't good, and there was a cycle, and I saw the stress that it put him under, and I, at that point, I wanted to make the world a better place. I just didn't know how. And then, through the Marine Corps, I really forged my human leadership. And when I got a chance at another large, as life would have it, I started working at a large aerospace company, and, I had some really great mentors, and I finally got to the position where I could change it, and I started to. But it was a lot of research, and exactly what you said, the culture is starting to shift now, but the sad part is too many companies are still lagging behind.
Yes, indeed, man. Well, can you explain the concept of psychological safety and why it's important in the workplace?
I would love to. And so I've done an immense amount of research, not only for my books, but also because the books came after we actually changed the environment. But so psychological safety, most leaders are scared of that term because they don't understand it. They think that it's basically taking accountability out of the system. And it was actually a term coined by Amy Edmondson, and she's a Harvard business professor who wrote a fantastic book. But in that book, she outlines psychological safety. And so psychological safety has 4 levels. And as you go, the first level is the base level, and I'll go over that, and then you get all the way to the top. And as you go and drive a business through these levels, you will see radical improvements. And I personally have been a part of this as it's happened, drove this, and we've changed the entire business. So the first level of psychological safety, the base level, is inclusive safety. So one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the need to feel a part of something. And what inclusive safety is all about driving the team environment, making people feel safe and feel a part of the company or the organization or whatever. It could be a team. If they don't feel like they're a part of it and they don't feel welcome in it, they're certainly not going to act productively in it. Ancient cavemen used this. It goes all the way back to then. They had to trust the other members of the group, and normally groups were smaller back then, but they had to trust the other members of the group that if a saber-toothed tiger came into the camp, that somebody would alert them. So they had this feeling of belongingness. And when you can feel safe in the group of people that you have to interact with, you don't have to worry about internal danger. You can focus on all the danger and the obstacles outside of the team, and you really perform higher than you probably ever thought you could. So, for leaders, driving that practically is making things about team environments. I use a lot of team awards to drive that. And you really want to hone in on that first. You get, the team going. The second level is learning safety. So statistically, people learn better in groups. And part of that is because they feed off of each other. People in a group, when they feel safe and welcomed in the group, they can actually learn and retain more. So how I've seen this, and we've employed this, is we do periodic trainings on a weekly basis in a group environment. It's really important to drive that because then you're reinforcing the inclusive safety too. So as they learn and fail and then, basically celebrate the failures as a team, they're getting closer as a team. So you're constantly driving the previous level. So that learner safety is really important. one of the things that I started, and this was a huge change to the business, and I got to give it to our business leaders that are above me, because they really, you need some support, but this was a big monetary support. So we started an investment hour. So that's where we take 1 hour per week and we stop production and we do nothing but training in every single one of the areas for every single employee. It was a huge financial impact. But what I said and what I've used in the book was, if you had $100,000, you wouldn't stick it in your savings account and expect to get rich. If you wanted to get rich, you would have to invest, and sometimes take a short-term hit for the long-term gain. So I think it's really important that leaders, human capital is the most important asset to any business. Whether they want to believe it or not, the people are the most important asset to the business. So we got to start treating them like that and invest in them if we want them to be better. So that was the learner safety. The third level of safety is contribution safety. And that's where you want everybody to contribute and give advice, give feedback, give ideas. So the leaders really are pivotal on that, because if you come into a room and you project the answer that you want already as a leader, nobody's going to give their opinion. You've just shut that room down. And the best example of this, and, Simon Sinek actually utilized this example and shared it in one of his videos. But the company Pixar, so they're wildly successful in the movie business. And when they started diving into what makes them successful, they actually, when they brainstorm movies, they go into this room called the Brain Trust. And over top of the door it says everyone's opinion matters. And in there, the leader will start the meeting with, this is a horizontal hierarchy. Your opinion matters. We want to know. And then he just shuts up and he stops talking. And he lets the team start talking ideas and bouncing feedback and shooting each other's ideas down in a mutual respect environment. And what happens is people feel safe to contribute. So you get these amazing ideas that you would have never gotten in a stifled environment. And, you can utilize this for quality defects, for safety defects in an environment. If you utilize that model just alone, you will get radical improvements. And I've personally seen that happen. So the third level is that contribution safety. The fourth level, which is the hardest to achieve, is challenge safety. That's where people feel safe to challenge their leaders when they've made a bad decision or something they perceive as a bad decision. And Bill Clinton actually, it was pretty funny, because when I was doing a lot of research about this, Bill Clinton came into office, and when he first had his first cabinet meeting, he actually said, you have the power to disagree. If you are not going to disagree with me, I might as well fire you and hire a computer, because you're here to make my decisions better. And, for too long, the thought has gone around that leaders are infallible. Like, we're perfect. We're not. We're just regular people. And we're regular people trying to do the right thing. But sometimes we don't have all the information. Sometimes we don't see all the sides, and we have a blind side. And if you create this challenge safety, a lot of leaders are scared of it because they think it takes power away from them. Well, now I'll have people questioning everything I do. It's the contrary. Now you can see all the sides. If you cultivate this environment, and I can tell you firsthand, you have people questioning when you make a decision, but they do it in a mutually respectful way, and now all of a sudden you're seeing all of the sides. And sometimes you say, hey, this was the plan, this is what I plan to do, thank you for your opinion, but I'm going to stick with the original plan. And sometimes the beauty happens where you say, wow, I didn't even see it like that, so let me change course to make a better decision. And what happens in an environment like that, people are more tolerant of the leader's mistakes, and they become more tolerant of the people's mistakes. And you want to talk about a growth environment? Normalizing mistakes in a manufacturing environment, a team environment, creates growth. When people don't feel like they have to be perfect and they can challenge and contribute and learn and feel like a part of a team, I mean, magic happens. And so psychological safety, everyone's been very afraid of it. I believe it's because it's not understood, which is why I wrote a book about it. I wrote a book about how to create a growth mindset and a growth culture and coach to growth, because if you do these things, you will make your people empowered. And once they're empowered and engaged, they will be unstoppable. And it is absolutely amazing to watch businesses and sections and areas of businesses change radically just by the way we lead.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your book, Coaching for Growth, and it focuses on creating a coaching culture within organizations. Can you explain the benefits of this approach?
Yeah, I think it's another thing that it goes, too far undone. Most businesses treat their employees almost like they're dispensable. So if you treat a person like they're dispensable, they're going to act like they're dispensable, and they're not going to care about the company. I mean, why would I care about a company that doesn't care about me? So Coaching for Growth, my book, really dives into, we as leaders are more like parents. And it may sound funny, but if your kid or child does something wrong, you don't just banish them from the house. You coach them. And so in Coaching to Growth, I talk a lot about the different methods of coaching. So, you have to teach a person. You have to then train them under non-nominal conditions. And then you trust and thrive in them. And they will. And if you trust them, they will thrive. Now, I also go over, let's say the trust and thrive doesn't work. You have to continue to coach. And sometimes employees might be in a wrong fit for what their skills are. So as leaders, we need to be able to see that and offer other options. So I go into a pretty extensive thing on when to evaluate a person for a transfer. Maybe there's another place in your organization or team that this person could really be a benefit, because it's probably most of the times performance problems are driven because they don't understand what to do. There isn't clear communication. It's very rarely that the person is saying, I'm just purposely being bad. There's normally some other thing. So, the book goes into a lot about different methods to coach. And, one of the things that we do as coaches is we try to change the environment. And it's very important, in both books I highlight it, but there was a gentleman, Kurt Lewin, and he was basically one of the fathers of sociology. And he wrote a lot in the 1930s. Now, this was when labor was horrible. I mean, you look at other businesses back in the 1930s, the labor environment was absolutely horrible. But here goes this guy, and he's writing in the 1930s, and he came up with an equation that was behavior equals a function of person and the environment. And he went and he did tests. If you change the environment that people are working in, their behaviors will change without them even realizing. And it was revolutionary, and nobody listened to him. So what I've found the way to do, and what I've cultivated in my books, is a strategy to change the environment that's proven to change the behavior of your people. They will be more empowered, and when they're more empowered, they'll be more empowered to learn more and grow more, and now all of a sudden you have an engaged workforce that's constantly improving, and it's just unstoppable. It really is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Paul, where can people connect with you online and pick up a copy of the book?
So right now I'm currently on Amazon.com, and then you can type in culture change through environment change. That's the first book, or coaching for growth. That's another one. I'm also on Barnes & Noble and soon to be Target.com.
Awesome. Well, listeners, just in case you don't get those links, we will have them in the description of this episode and in the show notes. So all you guys have to do is just click those links. Well, Paul Hylenski, we want to thank you once again for being our special guest tonight. It was truly an honor having you here.
It was an honor for me. Thank you for your time, and I thank all of your listeners for their time. And just the one parting thing: if we really truly start to lead with human leadership, I think we can absolutely change the work environment, change the culture at our workplaces. But I really believe that we can change the world. And I think we can make the world a better place for the children that are growing up now with their parents coming home from work. And I really think that we can make this world a better place.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is onlyonemediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Dini, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, at all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.